you show me off and shine me up, or line me up. Is it just for show? Why you wanna be my love, my love, my love? Hi guys.
Hello.
Thanks for welcoming me in Toronto.
Thank you.
Of course,
Thank you
anytime, man, anytime.
Yeah.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you. So Majid Jordan is Majid and Jordan, not Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan.
No.
And not one guy called Majid Jordan.
No, yeah, I'm Majid, he's Jordan, we're Majid Jordan. Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan are incredible basketball players. We love them a lot. Hopefully we get to see them in All-Star Weekend. It's All-Star Weekend this week.
Yeah.
So I hear you're leaving tomorrow though, but it's gonna be a good week, I think.
Back to back like I'm on the cover of Lethal Weapon. Back to back like I'm Jordan 96, 97.
Don't break my heart. But I feel that there is a principle of equity between all of you, which is not the same in every label. There is not the big star and the other artist. It feels that you can communicate between all the records, and like when Drake signed you've been on a smash hit like directly.
That was a huge honor for us, to be able to collaborate with Drake. We learned a lot by working with him on that song. We learned a lot about how, when there is an idea, how different elements can add to an idea and actually make it a song. Because when we were working on the song, it was just an idea. But by the time Drake had heard it and listened to it and wrote on it, it became what it is.
I got my eyes on you. You're everything that I see. I want your high love and emotion endlessly.
That equality, I think, maybe comes through just passing on knowledge, and if you're holding off on knowledge, then maybe you feel like you're at a disadvantage because you don't know as much. So it's all about sharing information, and yeah, definitely.
But your signature with Drake, it doesn't feel to be like a business signature.
No.
I feel that you had something more. That's what you express.
Yeah, we totally, like as I said, we felt like welcomed into a family, man. We welcomed into an incredible collaborative environment where we learn from mentors that many people would be lucky to have. And yeah, it's not definitely not just a business thing for us. It's definitely like, what can we do to make this better for everybody?
And tell me about like the famous episode of the recording of the Drake's album. Like people were in tents.
Oh,
is it true?
Well, we didn't want to leave the studio. If there was we just like, we were in there and we were just like, oh my god, there's so much music.
If you really want to look at it, like that whole story, it's like
40s, tell me from the beginning.
40s the ones sleeping in the tent. Like you got the people who actually like do this day in and day out.
It's that work
in the
ethic,
tent.
you know what I mean? It's like I can't leave the studio. I don't want to leave the studio. I want to make as much music as much as I can to the level that I can. So it's not like, oh, you guys have to stay here. It's like, no, we want to stay here. So let's bring in whatever we can.
Exactly.
So we don't have to leave, because we were all so just into the project. You know, it was so cool, man.
Like you had, even for us, it's like we're meeting a lot of people at once, and they're all on the same type of
work
workflow,
ethic,
yeah.
It's
just
so
everybody's
focused,
in there. It's very cohesive,
Yeah.
and people just stay there. And especially for me and Maj, it's like, I'm definitely the type of person to wake up at like 7 p.m. for 2 weeks in a row. So it's like,
and stay awake till 10 in the morning.
And
that's just how we were living, and that's how we lived.
At that point, the studio was like half an hour away. So I was sleeping on couches because I didn't want to leave. Like I had such an incredible opportunity. I waited my whole life to be in that studio. Why would I leave?
And we were learning the whole time. So it was like almost like, why would you leave? If you're gonna leave now, you're not gonna learn. You might miss out on that 2-minute conversation that maybe Drake and 40 had together, where they just explained the meaning of something or how it works, and you're like,
changes your whole outlook on.
Now I know kind of what you're looking for. I know kind of how we can work together. I know how we can make our music better. Looking back on it, was one of the best times of our lives, really. Because we would make music all night, and then we would drive home to the sunrise, to like the demos that we were making,
And there is one night you did a song and Drake came back in the car with the song.
It was like a portion of the song, basically. It was like the beginning stages of what Hold On, We're Going Home was going to become. Yeah, we gave the song on USB to Drake. He drove home, and we came back the next day, and it was tracked, and it was different, and it was bigger, and it was better, and it was like, whoa, you guys did this in one night based off of You know, a beginning stage idea was kind of crazy. Yeah.
When you hear it for the first time, did you know that it was going to be a so big hit?
I think we were just like,
we didn't really
stunned.
know. We were just surprised that, you know, they were even considering it for the project. And I think, you know, even the way, like he said, there's no real equation to how songs are made, because anyone could be in a room at any given moment. Even for our project, you know, we had a song where it was Something About You. One of our singles, and we were in LA, and there was just a bunch of people in the room, and we were all just trading ideas, you know, and they all sort of fed into the song. And it's kind of crazy how that conversation, you can hear it through melodies and words and vocals and instruments. So it was kind of like we just happened to be in that same place because we were working there, and like all these different ideas were coming together and ended up being a great song.
Yeah, it's the thought of you. It's the thought of you that's driving me.
Everyone played a really integral role.
Is there the same spirit in OVO? Because when we listen to an artist produced with the OVO sound, we always recognize him, even it's very different artist and different music. Is that the same way to do music here?
No, I don't think there's like really one equation, but I feel like we all have the same mindset, and we're all on the same wavelength of what we're really trying to accomplish with music, and that is conveying a message to everybody.
There is something crazy because your first name was Good People, and I think that the OVO spirit is to being good people.
Yeah, for us, that's how the name came about, right? Good People. I was describing his family, because we finished making the mixtape in his basement. And so I just called my parents, and they're like, what are you doing? You're coming home soon? And I said, yeah, you know, I just met this guy, Jordan. They're like, who's Jordan? I'm like, this. They're like, where are you? I'm like, I'm at his family's house. You're like, at his family's house? I'm like, don't worry, they're taking care of me. They're very good people. And so just carrying that energy of hosting, entertaining, and I think that's where the vibes are about. I mean, for Jordan.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that this is the message of all the album is, it's an album about love. So we're going to talk about love, but
definitely.
I think it's all about to find the good love, the good way to love. Because when we listen to a song with Drake like My Love,
Why you wanna be my love? Is it just a show?
when you ask the question like, am I a trophy?
I'm not your trophy, baby. I won't let you show me off or shine me.
Exactly.
Yeah, that line came from Drake, actually.
Yeah.
He wrote the song with us in mind, and basically he was questioning the idea of, is this love true, you know? And I can relate to that idea, and that's why, you know, we were really honored to be able to collaborate with him on that song.
Or is it a sign of the times with this song? Because it's not only about fame.
Yeah, it could be for anybody, you know. It could be a very real relationship, even for somebody that's not famous, you know, because there are reasons why somebody could be with somebody for other than fame. Maybe, you know, they want certain things that this person can give them that, you know, other people can't give them, and it's not truly just for the love of them, it's for what they can get from them, you know. So that's where I think like the real true message lies.
You're of the generation who grew up with internet and the way to catch girls on internet and to meet people really more easily, you know.
Yes.
We feel it in the album. We feel that you can switch from a relation to another really easily.
I think that's also just like maybe the period of now. Maybe it'll eventually become to the point where like being online and approaching somebody in that way is almost as weird as approaching somebody on the metro. Like you just don't really do it with people you don't know. You know what I mean? That could be the development. Maybe now that's how it is, but in a few years maybe it's like, no, like why is this person trying to talk to me online? That's not a real relationship. Who knows how mentalities can change, right?
This is the crazy stuff about your album, because I love to listen it like, you know, you have some love album that you just want to listen when you're drinking a tea with a girl. This one you can listen it like in the day and with a girl which makes you want to spend the day and just not the night with her. You know, is it your definition of the true love?
Definitely. That's like, yeah, day and night. It is what it is. When you want to spend all your time with one person, that has to be love.
Love for me is open love too, you know. It's like uncontrolling, it's not really pressuring, you know. It's just like loving with just the feeling of just giving it and not really expecting it back, you know, but getting it back and that joy you get, that's the moment, you know. That's the shared love. Yeah.
And there is something that which is in the album is like that you're scared to suffer because of a girl.
Which one?
Which part was that?
When you sing the song My Love, like when you're asking
Oh
a
yeah,
question, the scaring of being suffering because of a girl.
Well, that's just speaking on the fact that, you know, you're unsure, and when you're unsure about something, it always makes you do a double take, you know.
Do you think it's possible to bring back somebody that you loved and you left you with a song?
I don't know. That's a crazy question. Hopefully people have the ability to do that if they want to.
Because that would be the perfect song.
Yeah.
To create.
that would be.
You used to love me, now you don't. I made a song.
Hopefully you do.
Hopefully you do again.
Yeah.
Jordan. So you can send it on, forward it to whoever. Yeah, that's funny. No, but yeah, we you know, we are definitely inspired by love. We love, you know, just even being out and not even just love of people, love of places, you know, going to see things that maybe inspire us and we have a real attachment to, you know, like I have an attachment to the city now. I have an attachment to my home. I have an attachment to, you know, certain cities that we go to and have real experiences. You know, I hope that when we see you in Paris, you know, there'll be some amazing moments and
we will have,
and those stick with you, you know, so that also feeds that energy for us. Yeah.
Are you fragile?
Fragile?
Yeah.
I think everybody is fragile. You know, we're none of us are immortal, so therefore we are all prone to damage.
I mean your heart.
Yeah.
As an artist, because to write what you write and to sing what you sing, I have the feeling that you have to be fragile.
So it's more about being open to the point where people can, okay, maybe they sense that that's fragile. Maybe some people sense that it's strong, depending on how they relate to the words and the message. So yeah, I can see that.
But even in the video, you don't show the same girls. You don't show them like as bitches. You show them like as women.
I had an idea in my head.
Well, I hope, because you know that's women are at the end of the day women. You know, you can't give them a label.
Why you wanna be my love, my love, my love?
That in itself, putting a label on that is making the visual not match the music, and that's not art. That's just forcing something. That's forcing content.
Yeah, and you make old school like the porno chic video, you know. You make that old school, like we're like, okay, fuck that, and you bitches and your gold teeth, and I want to see like good girl like in Majid Jordan video.
I take my grills off every time I go on set.
Yeah, I'll take everything off.
Yeah, I have a bunch just all sitting in the back of the car, man. Like it's all loaded.
You know, it's like okay, let's come back to reality.
Well, our videos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
even if you have like special effects design and artists always working with you, there is something who express like, okay, let's get back to reality.
I feel like people have forgotten for a little bit that just being yourself is original.
The most of male R&B artists are like very egotic, and when they're talking about love, it's like, I'm gonna freak you.
I'm gonna freak you.
You know?
And which is kind of like what the internet provides, you know. It's like that accessibility to just say that to somebody that you don't know. So to me, it's like cheap. But I mean, you're also talking about specific R&B artists, you know. Like we're trying to bring R&B more into the realm of love songs and Motown.
Yeah, that's
real
the difference
soul,
with
real
you.
Feeling. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The difference with you is like the spirit of it's not Majid Jordan is like, I'm gonna freak you. It's like, how will I be happy and in love?
Because all of us have been listening to songs where the guy's like, I'm gonna freak you, and you've been like, yeah, yo, that's my jam. Like, you know, you're in the bar and you're like, yeah, sick. You know, so there's definitely a reason that music exists, because many people can for sure relate to it.
Definitely.
But you're talking about the Motown. I think that one of the great inspiration. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is Marvin Gaye?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, we love Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Sexual healing is something that's good for me.
I love the way he used to sing. I love his songs. Everybody, you know, even Jamiroquai. His writing style was like not really Motown, but like more funk, but it's definitely like an open message and, you know, super fun.
And the cool thing about I love about Motown is, if you really look at the way they produce these records, they gave the people dancing like the first minute to find somebody. You know, there's it's just an instrumental. So that's so beautiful that we lived in a moment where, you know, a new record would come on and you have to go and find a girl or whoever to dance with, you know, and so you take the time and then you dance to it, you know, and it's still a love song.
I've got sunshine on a cloudy day.
When you talk about the Motown, what's the first song that you have in mind?
I want you.
I just feel like the way we listen to music and like even how we do our mixes and stuff, there's so many times where we'll just be listening to music and we'll be influenced by maybe just like 15 seconds of it, not necessarily the whole record. So and that's how I pull all my influences in production.
Even like with the D-Train and Change and those guys, you know, it's like that's not really Motown, but you can tell they were influenced by Motown. So it's like just that continuation and just like going along the journey and seeing like where technology is at that point and where sound design is at that point and production. So it's like basically that progression.
There is a banger in your album, Small Talk. Like, this is for me the biggest track of the album.
If you would take this chance, then I'll take it through. I have these thoughts I keep, I wanna share with you.
When you heard it on the studio, were you like, we're gonna drop 1 song, 2 songs, and after we spread this, or you just let the people choose?
Well, I mean, the rollout, we had like 1 song coming out per week. And it was sort of a slow introduction to our sound because, you know, people know us in a place like this. The production is a little bit different and songwriting is a little bit different to After Hours. So it's like we wanted to make sure that we weren't taking people one direction and then another one and then another one. So it's just like a slow rollout so people can get familiar with the sound and actually digest the records, you know. So Small Talk, we premiered it on the OVO Sound Radio, right?
That was, I think that was one of like the first real records
that we felt excited about.
That we felt really excited about, and that might even be my favorite song on the whole album. So it's so colorful. It's so it just reminds me of us.
Because this is my way to talk with a girl, you know.
It's just,
I like how
it's just,
it's just like we like the idea of, you know, calling the track Small Talk, like it's a whatever song. You not have, you know, it's like you're talking about the weather or something, but you're actually you're like telling her I need to talk to you because of this and this and this. So it's not really small talk. It's kind of a big deal, but we play it off in this like fun, colorful way. So it's just sort of like you feel comfortable going in and having that conversation.
Will you shoot a video for this one?
I want to.
We would love to.
Want to shoot one right now? Let's go, yo. Let's go. We just gotta figure it out. I mean, I would ideally love to shoot as many videos as possible.
You should do it in Paris, you know, Small Talk.
That would be amazing.
Well, yo, we'll talk about it.
You were talking about the show OVO Sound right now. Like people discovered you with SoundCloud, and the first real premiere of your album was on iTunes.
Today's episode is obviously hosted by me. We also have Majid Jordan taking over towards the end, playing their new project, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Do you think that everything changed? Like
I just never thought, I couldn't think of where music is like the industry side, where it is right now, like 2 years ago, we're actually going back to the days that you had to tune into the radio to hear the new record. You know, that stream or that rip of that record is going to be available in 10 minutes after it. It's like people are still really tuning in. Like if you look at how many people have Apple Radio, it's like, well, you don't have Apple Radio? It's got to that point. Like it's just a really good idea.
But do you feel that the impact when your song is played on like OVO radio show on iTunes is more powerful that if you were played on airplay on the radio, classic radio?
Well, I'm not a pro at the numbers and that, but I do believe that it's a very, very influential platform.
Yeah.
Totally. And
it's curated. It's really curated by somebody that people trust. So they're tuning in with the intention of listening to new music. But they're
shout out Noel for putting those shows together.
Shout out Noel.
Yeah, because he's a beast.
Yeah.
And there's some really young Toronto artists that are in those radio mixes too. And the one that we were playing, like Drake, the curated mix that he was doing, he was putting in some, up and coming Toronto guys. So it's just even cool to be a young Toronto artist and be on a worldwide radio station.
I have another feeling with your album. It's like this is just the first side of all the track that you've been working on.
Within each track or
that you didn't show, like you work like...
Oh, I mean, we have like multiple versions of every song. And that's why we love to make remixes, and that's why we, we'll remix our own tracks.
Boys, you did.
Still a naughty boy.
You're still a naughty boy.
Always be a naughty boy.
You didn't show everything.
Jay naughty.
Yeah.
When I listened to the album, I was like, wow, this is a really huge, big album, but coming so quickly, nicely, You
gotta hear, listen, sit with it a bit more, and then, when we come on tour and do the live shows, that's where the songs really get to grow and breathe. We're really excited for that live show.
When we listen to your music and what you're doing and the banger that you can have, the question is like, did you keep something from View from the 6, the Drake's album?
Did we keep something?
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have to ask. There's this guy. His name's Mr. Morgan. If you have any questions about View from the 6, you gotta ask Mr. Morgan. That's what he has all the information. So yeah, Mr. Morgan, if you're watching.
he's definitely watching. So.
Yeah, he's definitely watching. he every time you say Views, he like pops up somewhere.
I discovered you when you were called Good People, actually, and I heard this track that I was talking to you before. It's Passions.
It's not your love, it's not for love.
Can you just tell me how it started?
So it really started on the piano, and it, just like all the other tracks, it was just like dorm room, bedroom music that we would just pick up an instrument and just play it and turn it into something. So
we started out like with the idea that we just played the piano. We had this idea for a visual that maybe, if we ever did get to make a video for it, we always think visually as well, like when we're making music, that it would be just the piano and someone would just be playing the piano and then the beat would creep in. So that's why in Patience, in the very beginning, you hear the piano and it's not really played to a metronome or anything. It's sort of just an open, airy sound, and then the beat drops, at that time, and that's why I feel like you can get that feeling from that drop right there.
Is it true that you met at his birthday party?
Yes.
And you were illegally there?
Yes.
You naughty boy.
You naughty boy.
We met at the Beaconsfield.
Yeah.
In Toronto. It was his 21st birthday, and I just turned 18. So.
Yeah. You were 18? You told me you were 19.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, it's basically, he came with his cousin, and one of his first nights out in Toronto, because he had just moved to the city for university as well, and I was at the university and he was in his first year, and it was my last year. So a few friends of mine threw me a surprise birthday party, so I didn't even know who was going to show up, and he just happened to be a surprise guest. And
did you decide to be best friends like this?
Well, I mean, we met that night.
Were there a ceremony and?
Yeah, we met that night, and it was a really good party. So whatever we spoke about, it was just like all joking around and having fun. But we did connect that night, and we both talked about music and said we love this kind of stuff. I love this kind of stuff. But it actually took a few months before we ran into each other again on the street, and then that's where we really connected and said, "Yo, remember the birthday? We said we're gonna make music." you know, I what are you doing tomorrow? And he was like, you know, I'm here. I said, I have a class here next door to your dorm room, so I'm gonna go finish it and I'll come over after. And when I went over the next day, he had a track ready already, and that was Hold Tight. And I was like, it's crazy how quickly he worked based on this much information. We have to make more music together, and that's where we really clicked. That's where it's like, you know, I really feel like we can take this somewhere.
And how did you know that you were made to do music together? Did you pronounce the sentence?
I mean, when we got into the dorm room for the first time, it really did click. You know, I heard Majid's voice for the first time, and just his style of writing and the way he tracked and recorded and the way it all came together, it was just fun. It was good. It made us really feel good. So we were just making music that we loved, and at that point we were learning about each other while we were learning about our musical interests. So it was like a very organic growth. But it really did happen that one day. We made Hold Tight and then we made Chill Pad Deluxe in the same day.
Because it's a thing to create a band with a guy, but it's another thing to create a band with the name of the guy.
Now it became the name of two of us, right?
We were good people for a while.
We were good people as it started. And the moment I think it really connected for both of us that we wanted to make music together was like the night I was going to leave the country. He gave me the mixtape on a CD. It was unmixed, unmastered, whatever. I just said I need to leave with something because I want to put it in my car when I go home and drive to it. And that was when he gave me the CD. He said, I have a really good feeling about this. And that was it. And I feel like that, if you can go back to a specific moment in time where we both felt really confident, that was probably that moment. Yeah.
So you left the city?
I left the country. I went back to Bahrain, which is where I grew up, where my family is based.
Le Bahreïn, c'est ce petit état, vous allez voir sur la carte, ici, voilà, en face de l'Iran, et près de l'Arabie Saoudite.
I was going to just take a month off after school to just relax and look for jobs. So, but the meantime, he was mixing the record, and we put it up on SoundCloud after a month of me being there.
This is where I discovered your music.
And that's you heard it on SoundCloud?
Yeah, like a lot of DJs and people like who play the sound. That's crazy. And we are not the only one who had the track. Who else?
You know, it fell into 40's hands through a close friend of his, and you know he heard the songs and he basically really liked what he had heard, and he sent me an email. And I also didn't want to get his hopes up, being like, yo, there could be a record deal, because I know for Jordan, he wanted to make music his whole life. So, you know, I don't want to give any false information because he's like my brother. So it took me some time to figure out who 40 was, and as soon as I did, I was like, yo, this is a serious opportunity.
And is it true that you didn't know who 40 was and your father Googled him and explained it to you?
Yeah, 40, he's a very private guy, you know, even like bringing us into this world, we really felt welcomed into a family because of how, you know, supportive and close they are together. Back in that time, he had less information than there is about him now, you know, online and interviews and television appearances. So at that time, I think there was only like a CNN interview. And I told my father, this guy Noah Shabib sent me an email, and I left the house to go see some friends. I came back, he was like, I looked him up, he's this guy, he has a CNN interview, this is him, I think you should go meet him.
Everyone in the studio would fall asleep and wake up in the morning, and I'd still be sitting in front of the computer. So they started calling me 40 days and 40 nights.
So I was just like, all right, thanks for the due diligence. Thank you for doing the report.
Now, can you explain to my father who is Mr. 40?
Mr. 40? Okay, so he is basically the machine behind a lot of what OVO is about. You know, he's a very close and trusted partner for Drake. He executive produced our latest album, Majid Jordan. He's a mentor for us. He's an extremely talented songwriter and producer, and the co-founder of OVO Sound with Drake and Oliver El-Khabib. Yeah.
So you did the video and this performance with Ellen.
I got my eyes on you. You're everything that I see. I want your hot love and emotion. Endlessly.
Oh my God, that was the first time we were on TV. Yeah, we hadn't even performed together ever. as good people and nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
And then this thing's opening up, and we're just looking at Ellen's crowd, and we're just like, oh my god, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is the first performance this is the first time we've ever been on stage together. So
no one has seen our faces. No one knows what we sound like. No one. So we're just thinking about all those things and just being like, okay, we're on Ellen. We got to do this. Let's go.
Did your father call you just before? I just Google Ellen DeGeneres.
He's like, yeah, I know Ellen. She's a great American comedian. She has a talk show. There's millions of people watching. You're gonna do great. Enjoy. First live performance. There you go. My mom actually. She's a big internet. She goes on. I tell her, you gotta stop going on there, man. Like, just separate your life.
Place.
Yeah, it's a crazy place for for people that are close to you, and care a lot like that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that they keep that distance.
Mm-hmm.
But you have an open mind on the electronic scene.
Yes.
When did you discover that? Because when I listened to the album, I think that you loved the UK garage scene. You liked it.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
The French scene, I feel
Yeah,
that you know
100%.
it.
Yeah.
How did you discover that? Can you make the bridge?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I started producing music, I was like 12 years old, and I started on like a 8-track analog recorder. So I was playing guitar and piano or whatever, and just trying to write songs. And then I moved over into electronic music when I really discovered like BBC's Essential Mix. That Pete Tong show, like I tune in every single week.
Welcome to Radio 1's Essential Mix. My name's Pete Tong.
And at that point, like Ed Banger was crazy, and all these artists that I'm listening to for like 2 hours are really making an influence on
Justice,
me.
DJ Mehdi.
Those guys are like huge influence in my music. So basically what I did is I learned how to make music on a computer. And while I was listening to that music, I was learning how to use all these softwares, and I just wanted to make house music.
Mm-hmm.
And did you have this in mind when you structured the album?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a science of the hook, which is not the same than in the R&B or in the pop. It really came from the electronic scene, like the way you repeat stuff and the gimmicks.
Sample-based hooks and stuff like that.
With a lot of our music, we were sampling ourselves. Like we've sampled in the past, but that's not really the way I learned how to produce. So I feel like when we're flipping these records, we're really looking for that groove that house music has, and then we're trying to write to it. So we're bringing it in a realm where it doesn't feel like pop music, doesn't feel like R&B. You still have this groove, this repetitive groove, but you're listening to different things over it. So that in itself is moving it into a place where it's a collaboration of all three of those things.
And then like even in the percussion, adding in like the nuances and unpredictability of like two-step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We were talking about the bridges between electronic music and hip-hop and the obvious sound. Like you can flip to a 75 BPM beat to a really electronic beat in just 1 second right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And is it the way that you recorded this track and thought about it? Like you can go to a slow jam from a up-tempo in...
Definitely, like I mean, like even with Something About You, that sample that everybody thinks is a sample is actually just Maj. And so I just pitched his voice down. We do that a lot with our music. Another one of my influences is like chopped and screwed music in hip hop, where it's like taking something and putting a whole new mood on it. It's the same music, but it's just at a different BPM and different times. So it gives birth to some new emotion.
And the way you use his voice, it's like when you play with a...
It's like an instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll chop it up and I'll just use... I'll sometimes use just like his breath when we recorded it or something, like that itself is an instrument. You can do anything. It doesn't need to... There's no real equation, and I'm really not one of the producers that has to be like analog, hardware stuff. You can turn that into a kick. If you really wanted to. Yeah.
Will you use like auto-tune and stuff like this?
No, not really. Like when we're tracking, I mean, this guy goes in and does it in like less than 3 tries. So he knows how to do it. That's how we've always made music. That's why it really clicked. But
you know, like I'm open to really anything.
Yeah,
you know, it just
like,
depends on the vibe and the song. You know, it could be anything really.
It should never be. You know, those people really bother me because there's people that's like, oh, they use, so like this artist use auto-tune, like don't listen to them. Like, well, it sounds good, just listen to what it is, you know, like it shouldn't really matter to you.
I agree.
You're right. Like
Young Thug is one of the greatest melodies.
Happy I'm blessed. I'm happy I was blessed with a voice, a weird voice, got me way right with you.
Yeah, Young Thug's crazy. Young Thug is like amazing, and the way he uses auto-tune is like the way artists use instruments. Like, yeah, Young Thug's
It's
crazy.
not really like a voice aid, it's almost like an instrument, yeah.
Like a vocoder or something.
Yeah.
As musical geeks, do you know what do you know about the French music?
I mean, I knew like Mr. Oizo, Ed Banger.
We know, of course, Daft Punk.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
yeah, those guys are huge influences for us too.
I feel like the way I look at like the French music scene is you know, based on like the house music scene they have. I remember listening to like Ed Banger. Like, I just keep mentioning him just because when I was listening to everything he was really a part of, I was like, how the fuck did they make this so loud? Like, the kick is so loud. Like, you guys are crazy. Like, and the kick would be here, and then the side chain would just come up and raw synth, and then just kick raw synth. So I was just, I feel like that's what I got from the French music scene. But I mean,
then I love also like French melodies, you know, like the play on the like Sébastien Tellier, La Retournelle, that song. I remember I listened to that for a long time.
So French rap is crazy too.
Even like those
French rap is amazing.
And you know the French rap?
Yeah, I mean, I used to visit Montreal, and there used to be one place. I really couldn't name you an artist, but it was just like French rap, and just like the flow, it was so romantic, and it was just so smooth, and it was just different, you know. Like, I feel like a lot of people, especially right now, you know, are getting introduced to things that they think are new, like grime and, you know, French rap, and these things have been things for a long time.
Yeah, there's that one MC Solar song. He's talking about the deck of cards or something.
Yeah.
And how she's like the spade or the diamond or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I had a friend, he translated it for me because I was playing it a lot. If you find out what that song is.
Je suis l'as de trait qui pique ton cœur. L'as de trait qui pique ton cœur.
I think maybe that's the one. Yeah. So he's just talking about the imagery of the cards and like relating it to a woman and like that. So Caroline, yeah, that's it. That's the one. So that was like one of the first French rap songs I heard. And then when I understood what it meant, I was like, wow, this is really impressive.
And you were talking to me just before from PNL.
J'suis dans un merdier, dans un cul-de-sac. Ah ouais, ta chatte, toi ferme ta gueule,
A friend of mine from Montreal, he put me onto them, Dave. And I just watched their video that they shot, I think in Iceland or Greenland or something. And just the idea of putting that kind of music with that production quality on the video, I thought that was really cool.
La vie c'est dur, la je suis dur, je coupe la pure, faut faire des ronds, un cœur de
Really, really cool.
You didn't make a lot of interviews, that's why I wanted to thank you. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to keep the silence and to choose?
Well, I mean, you know, if you're excited to talk to us, we're excited to share.
Yeah.
You know, that's really how we see our message moving forward. You know,
even while we were, you know, in the talks with 40 and everybody at OVO, there wasn't necessarily a talk of keeping our whole image elusive. It was just we're very focused and we're working on a goal that we can all see. So we didn't really have the need to share with people
at that time.
Yeah. Especially with social media, it's like you know exactly what everybody's doing, and everybody just wants to put up whatever they're doing and whatever they're working on. But I feel like we're just the type of people to work on it and then be proud with what we've made and then talk about it and then be open to everybody who wants to ask about it. You know?
This show is called Clique. What's your definition of a clique?
It's our team. It's everybody we're with. I feel like there's like a stigma sometimes related to that word, but the way we look at the word clique is just a collective.
Last question. We're in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
You have Mr. Trudeau wants to legalize weed.
Yeah,
I can't vote here, so but he's a young dude, Mr. Trudeau. Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, he's with it. Yeah, he's with how the country feels. I feel
itself is a pretty young country, you know, Canada, and I feel like young people in general here are achieving quite a lot for their age, you know, in many fields. Not only politics, business. You know, I have a few friends that really went out and started lives, you know what I mean? Like, you know, started a company or collaborated with someone, even like Jamie, for example, you know what I mean? Like even Noah himself, you know, for what he did with Drake, like for their age and what they did, it's incredible. This is one of those countries where you can really do that.
Yeah, I feel like Canada as a whole is a country that is that gives the youth a real voice.
Thank you so much.
You.
Merci.
Thank you very much. Thank you.